day, the TvT. Let's see how this goes. To the bottom right-hand side, our red Terran player. And Team Liquid is uThermal. Top left-hand side, our blue Terran player is going to be MyInsanity's aLive. As we enter game 1 on Odyssey, it's going to be some proxy racks action from our man in red coming up to the top side of the map. What's up, Foster? Good morning to you. How you doing? As we get this set up and ready to go. I remember one of the last times that uThermal aLive played was, maybe not one of the last times, but I remember cast them in the WardiTV. I think it was the Christmas Invitational. Way back when. Way back almost, I guess, 8 months ago now. And we had a lot of fun casting that, but it was kind of funny to see that uThermal just came in. I think he kind of just stomped aLive very quickly with a whole variety of cheeses and all sorts. So that was pretty fun to see. As we get set up here and get ready to go. I'm actually going to try and look up some uThermal aLive stats as we go now. They probably play quite a lot, I imagine. Actually, score versus each other, uThermal is 10-2 against aLive in online events. They have only ever played online, and the last time they played was in that Christmas Invitational on the 16th of December 2016, a 3-0 for uThermal back then. Let's see if we can get a repeat performance. Do you keep using those Matcherino codes as well, guys? See a couple of you guys mentioned that you're using them in the chat. Thank you very much. Do appreciate ! Matcherino for more MC100 as the code to add $1 to the prize pool for free. As here we go. Action begins. Reaper in the main base. And already the first SCV is going to drop. Reaper pops out from aLive now. A grenade from uThermal just to back it away, push it back. Second Reaper arrives, and now he'll probably try and jump up and fight this. 2 Reapers against the one initially. SCV is going to try and help. Great grenade, and he actually is going to get a Reaper kill now. Oh wow, all of a sudden things might start to spiral a bit out of control in uThermal's favor. We're going to be seeing SCVs taking some more damage. Just proxied starport on the other side of the map, though. That's going to be aLive's way to try and get back into this. Single Marine not going to do a lot against 3 Reapers, though. And the problem is, aLive's got a lot of time to survive right now, and he's already lost 5 workers. Losing that first Reaper so quickly is really problematic, as now a Hellion comes out. uThermal is struggling a little bit to do a lot with it, though, and he will just back away. And we'll just wait a little while, which does give a chance for another Hellion to come up here, and that will give aLive the opportunity then to maybe properly push this back. Back at home, uThermal goes into a factory of his own. That will be the one way he can defend against that proxied starport, which is likely to be a Liberator, of course. You see the initial Hellion burst fire going down, and again, Reaper's being brought low. Another Reaper up in the main to the side, but he will be found, and already just a grenade to do a bit more damage here. Hopping on down, SCV is continuing to repair these Hellions. So this SCV is still just gathering on together. Starport's still on the way up in the main. A scan into the main base now of aLive. uThermal has to... Does he figure out that the starport is proxy, or does he just think there's no starport? Because if he thinks there's no starport, it could really catch him off guard here. I was going to see those Hellions. Still a major part of this defense. As more Reapers come into play, though, it is scarier and scarier for aLive, as those Hellions will go down so much faster. But now the Reaper count is starting to get destroyed. In fact, uThermal's losing so many of his Reapers there. It's a big deal, and now the Liberator will siege up in the main. uThermal will lose mining for a while. He is ahead by 5 or 6 workers, but losing this much mining for so long, well, it will hurt him. The Cyclone, the Viking on the way out, but not here for a while. Lifts up the barracks now, will move them around. Neither player with an expansion. uThermal again with that 4-worker lead, but overall, a weaker fighting army. Cyclone on the way from now aLive as well. aLive's in this sort of position where he wants to... aLive's in this sort of position where he wants to... see if he's trying to return some gas there. aLive's in this position where he wants to kind of follow up and do a little bit more. I'm just going to see a Banshee on the way out. Should be okay as long as Cloak isn't allowed to finish, which it won't be. These Reapers do pick away at the tech lab. Yeah, I mean, uThermal defensively should be fine. Again, that lost mine time definitely helps aLive out. He's got a larger fighting army, but can he make use of it against a defensive uThermal? And that's what we're going to be seeing here very soon. These Reapers are still fighting against this starport and actually doing quite a bit of damage. Cyclone's going to move over as well. If you could deny the Banshee, it would be huge, but I don't think you'll actually deny the Banshee. Banshee's about to pop. Now these other units coming over as well. uThermal has to be very careful. Here comes the Banshee, which will just go straight in towards the main. There is going to be a Viking out, which will intercept this Banshee right away. Meanwhile, though, Hellion's running towards the main base, and uThermal does not have an answer to that because he's got all of his units on the low ground. And that's an issue because these Reapers should be here to help defend this. The Cyclone too, suddenly 9 workers dropping, and aLive is starting to do quite a lot of damage. This Hellion's one of them going down now right away, and we're going to see a second one too. And again, look how easy a cleanup it is once the units are here. uThermal just making the mistake of not having those units there, being a bit greedy, just killing off the starport. I mean, it's nice to kind of push it back and push it away, but at the same time, it has heavily cost him now. And uThermal's also without an expansion, whereas aLive is expanding. So uThermal pushing across the map now is under a lot of pressure to really deal damage here. Otherwise, he's going to be in trouble. He does get the better end of the trade on his opponent's Cyclone right away. A tank on the way up, though, from aLive. Can he defend the low ground? He might not be able to. SCV here building this bunker, killed off. Tank sieging up, but it only covers so much of this natural expansion. And I think, indeed, we are going to be seeing the CC in trouble unless aLive brings his tank further forward. See, the barracks, though, allows him to see the siege tank as well, so he knows it's there. And he sees it sieging now. He's just going to go and fight it. Cyclones will get rid of the siege tank pretty quickly. The Cyclone going down, too. The Vikings will want to land to help out against the Marines on the ground. It feels as though uThermal is doing enough because he will get a cancel in the CC and feels the Marines can't possibly fight this, right? Pulls back the damaged Cyclone to make the most of it, and that Cyclone is still alive here. Another Cyclone coming across the map. The counterattack of uThermal turns out to be so powerful, as we're going to be seeing that tank does siege. Again, uThermal using this barracks from earlier in the game as that vision gave him the opportunity to get rid of that tank there. He can continue fighting. Another CC begins to build from aLive, but uThermal, I feel, has already put himself in a pretty decent spot. He'll build his CC on the low ground now, and at the very least, even though he's still 6 workers behind, at the very least he will find with that CC dropping down here himself with a faster natural CC, just because this one still has to float into position. Vikings will land. I mean, this siege tank here is very immobile, obviously, as it's sieged up, and so these Vikings do have the chance to move in and do a little bit of damage. 1 worker kill, and he'll lift up, and he will actually lose a Viking for this, maybe even 2. Target fire. Okay, he doesn't lose 2 Vikings for that. Bit of a shame. At the same time, trying to push up this ramp, he'll scan to be able to get rid of this depot. Pulls a couple of these Cyclones away, which are in range of the tank, and again, it's annoying. It's a frustration for aLive, who now is supply blocked from that depot being lost. And the quad Cyclone here from uThermal just doing so much damage. Really is find himself a whole bunch of progress so far with this. Alright. Cyclone's pulling down towards the bottom right. We see this Viking to the right hand side as well. Just moving around, looking to see what it can maybe get done. CC finishes and will start to morph into an orbital. A couple of Ravens on the way up as well. Marines, tanks moving through the center of the map. CC to the left side also going to be able to morph into an orbital here once again. CV is still just repairing up these Cyclones. Repairing these up, getting them good to go. Obviously, it's so nice being able to kind of keep those alive, because now he just has so much more to work with when it comes to being able to defend the counterattack of aLive. All said and done, uThermal is in this position now with aLive is in the same position, really. They've kind of evened things out. 29 workers apiece. aLive is still a bit ahead from having a few more SCVs for a while. For example, 3rd CC is about to finish. Extra racks are finishing much earlier. And so maybe still eyes on uThermal to some extent to try and get a bit more done to actually make up for what is a much later 3rd CC, to make up for later barracks as well. Push to the side here. aLive wants to siege up. Can you not get behind that? Apparently not. The tanks can't make it. uThermal has tanks of his own. As we see, the Cyclone's actually going to come in from a bit of an awkward angle onto these siege tanks. He's going to get rid of 1 very quickly. He'll try and target down another 2. I guess he gets rid of 2. And this 1 tank here is a nuisance, but it isn't much more than that. He'll be able to pull away a few SCVs. He has got a Raven and a single order turret. Will be good to clean up here. Just wants to not lose this siege tank, but he does. That's a shame. Didn't really need to have that happen. He's losing another worker as well. 5 workers killed. And it's good damage by aLive, who again with the 3rd CC up with the 3 racks is looking to be in a bit of a better spot now. Stim continue to come on up. Couple medevacs on the way out too. You see this Raven moving around, seeing where it can go to. Again, a couple of Ravens that's Viking over in the main, and just a couple more barracks still on the way up. So uThermal playing from the deficit of a third base, playing from the deficit of later racks. In a moment or so we will see, I think we're already seeing aLive's army supply starting to explode as he is able to produce 5 Marines at a time. And now adding on a 4th and 5th racks too, obviously continuing on in that direction of just being able to produce more and more. His third CC about to land. And uThermal, what does he do? I mean, again, TvT is always this matchup where comeback potential is, is very much so there because of the doom drops, etc., because of the way defensive positions with tanks can work. But sometimes it's very difficult to find those opportunities as, oh, the Raven just flies on by. And that means that aLive is going to get some more eco damage done here once again. I actually would have minded him dropping down the auto turret on the SCVs, building those barracks just to force the delay on them building. Could have been nice. Auto turret doesn't actually get any kills. Just pulls workers away. Got aLive now, pushing through the center. Tank and Marines, having to get rid of a single Marine there, and a scan forwards. aLive is going to see what is going on. Is going to see those Marines, a couple of tanks just joined up together, and again aLive still trying to try and push on through. uThermal going across the map to counter with his own Ravens, so he isn't even going to have these here defensively if he needs them. Although if his opponent doesn't attack, then he could maybe make the most of it and get some damage done to try and bring him back into the game a bit, because he definitely needs something uThermal. I mean, auto turret from his opponent as well means that it's just 3 workers apiece for now. He actually gets up to 4, maybe 5. I think that's 5 as the SCVs return a little bit too quickly to their jobs. Combat shields to finish up shortly from aLive. Another big advantage he can work with. Also the fact he went 1-1 rather than just +1 is a big advantage too. uThermal just with a single upgrade. And again, all of this just repercussions of that point where uThermal lost about 9 workers to the Hellion run-by. Losing those workers to the Hellion run-by meant that he was just behind on minerals for a while, and because of that, he really did just fall behind in so many kind of points of the production here, the third CC, the extra racks, and all of that does really add up here in the TvT in a mirror matchup. And while uThermal was doing great damage across the map at the same time, it definitely kept him in the game, but it definitely didn't win him the game. Scans from both players. uThermal's actually just picked off a whole bunch more workers. 14 workers killed in the last few moments. Is that all from the Ravens? 8 and 7? It is. Wow. And again, the crazy damage done with that as we're going to be seeing. uThermal, he's very well spread across 2 bases, but that is the problem. 2 bases is not really what you want to be at right now. And now his reacted racks are going to be in trouble as well. This is going to start losing even more of his production. Tries to stim for that Raven. Can't really afford to give much up though. uThermal playing the very patient game here. Has to at least wait for combat shields. Like without combat shields, he has really no hope of doing very much here. So he really needs to at least wait for that. That barracks will lift and will not be repaired in time though to stay alive. At the same time, a double drop across the map. If he stims into this third base and does a lot of damage, then there is potential. But aLive will see it with Marines on the watchtowers. He just has so much map control. aLive going to relocate here with the main army. These Ravens still here, actually keeping a lot of the army of aLive out of position. Is now going to see uThermal will begin to unload, and let's see what he can do towards the third base. At the same time, you're going to see aLive looking to push in over here again shortly. Again, aLive losing SCV is being kept away from kind of running away with the economy in this game. I think upgrades is something we just can't deny though. 1-1 against +1, soon to be 2-2 against 1-1. I don't know how uThermal fights against those upgrades without getting really good siege tank based fights, as you're going to see. The Marines sacrifice themselves to kill a medevac to try and get rid of tank vision, but CC is still in range. You'll see turning and fighting here. uThermal just taking advantage of the high ground for a moment. Obviously aLive just wants to fight with that tank. He's going to lift up and drop to the main where there's units as well. aLive is so well spread out over here, and uThermal loses the natural command center. Well, obviously that's a huge deal too. Without the natural CC, it's going to be an issue. Oh, well, I mean, again, that's ways to get back in the game, picking off a lot of Marines too. I mean, uThermal's really finding every opportunity he can to somehow just about survive and stay in it, but it really isn't going to last forever. Siege tank here for aLive will stop uThermal doing too much. He will come in, get rid of the tank, and then just lift and leave, I guess, against those Marines. And he's sending another, wants to send another Marine medevac forwards here, try to drop on top of these tanks. Doesn't do too much, only 1 Marine able to unload there initially. uThermal on siege and re-sieging in position now, and will be able to fire away on... Oh, well, he only has 1 tank in range, so he just sort of gives himself up a tank. aLive, I mean, 2-2 upgrades now in play, now 30 army supply ahead. I mean, triple CC against 1. And we sort of see where this is headed for uThermal. There's not really much you can do about it, as I mean, there just isn't much you can do about it at all. As we're going to be seeing tanks still firing away here. It's just game 1 of this best of 5. Plenty of room for uThermal to find a way back into this, but has to be careful, as we do see. Well, he's going to try and push forwards. He will be able to break through this position finally, but even breaking through this position has been expensive for him. He's down to 30 army supply. The lack of upgrades is hurting him. Continue set up into this. Marines picking off another unit there, and well, now uThermal loses a Raven, so that's one of his other comeback mechanisms gone from the game. I mean, we say comeback mechanisms. It's not easy for him to come back from this army supply deficit. It's almost impossible. aLive isn't going to be afraid of pushing into this, and that's going to be game. You know. So trying to say something, like, you know, it's kind of my job to be more exciting than just being like, okay guys, it's over, so I'm not going to say anything for a while now. I'm just going to say it for the next 5 minutes. It's over, it's over, it's over, it's over. Sometimes you got to give a little bit of hope. It's about telling a story. And even if the story is very unlikely, if not impossible for uThermal to come back, you know, you still got to tell the story of what he is doing right and what he may be able to do here and there, otherwise it does just become very stale. Game 2, this best of 5 starts on the top left hand side of Abyssal Reef with the blue Terran player. It is going to be from My Insanity, aLive. Bottom right hand side, the red Terran player from Team Liquid. Give it up for uThermal. Set up an Abyssal Reef here. Not going to see proxy racks at the start of this game from uThermal. So very interesting start of that last game, I have to say still. You know, it was a lot of back and forth. There was a lot of here and there. And we had a moment where we were like, well, uThermal's dead, and then aLive was in trouble. And, you know, it kept it interesting for a good amount of time until aLive really did just start to run away in terms of the macro. We'll see what's planned from both here in game 2 already. We've seen the double gases coming down. And with the double gases coming down and into play, obviously, it sets aLive and uThermal up into a position where they'll be aggressive early on, rather than either of them looking towards an expansion, which is very oftentimes a possibility, and very oftentimes the thing which people, you know, tend towards or head towards when they are looking to, towards that sort of setup. A little bit of aggression on either side early. Factory going to finish up. Starport will begin as well in a moment. Cyclone to begin with here from aLive. uThermal going to do the same. So far just mirroring each other's builds. I mean, it's TvT early game. It's very expected to be very similar early on. As we just continue to set up into this. Tech Lab on the way down on the barracks, and you can see the reactor from aLive. So we are starting to see a little bit of a difference already. aLive going to focus potentially on maybe some more Marines, whereas uThermal is just looking to set his starport up with a Tech Lab immediately to go into potentially a Cloak Banshee, potentially just a Raven as well. I think Cloak Banshee, if you want to rush the starport out onto a Tech Lab like this. Generally, I think the Cloak Banshee is the usual way forwards, but we'll see momentarily. As you see, second cyclone starting up, and so far players just sitting defensively for the most part. aLive going to be a bit more adventurous with his Reaper, just checking for proxy locations, and will eventually end up across the map. uThermal actually goes for a medevac initially, so we'll go medevac and then I guess follow up. It makes sense because he didn't have gas to make a Raven or Cloak and Banshee before, so he'll go medevac first, and by the time that medevac completes, he should have 200 gas to go into, again, either that Raven or the Cloak Banshee play. As the medevac finishes, we'll see the double cyclone going across the map. It's the same thing from aLive, only it's 4 Marines and a cyclone in the medevac. uThermal obviously didn't build those Marines, and so far he's built a Tech Lab that's not been too useful. Now starts to build his reactor on the barracks. Once again, there's Viking coming on out. The SCV comes over and does build that CC. So far uThermal actually finding good fights in the middle of the map. Actually gets a cyclone kill. It's a nice pickup from uThermal, but he needs a way to defend the cyclone and Marines on his own side of the map here. Otherwise he might be in some trouble. I mean, there's a Viking, but I think he's just going to, well, the CC here is at least going to be delayed at the very least. SCVs will pull on into this. The Vikings just try and fight the medevac. Over here, uThermal's medevac is coming in and will start to do some damage of his own here shortly. Man, this Cyclone is just ripping SCVs to shreds though. Repair isn't even good enough on that Viking. I mean, this double Cyclone here from uThermal just isn't going to find the same amount of damage. There's a Cyclone here and ready to defend. 12 workers lost for uThermal. Is aLive is starting to run away with this a little bit. SCVs keep on pulling in. uThermal just going after workers, knowing how important it is to make up for what's happening on his own side of the map. He has got finally a Cyclone out. He will finally be able to clean this up, but 9 workers left against 15. His damage just came in so much later, and because he just didn't build another Cyclone, whereas aLive did, it sort of set him up in a bit of an awkward situation where he just didn't have anything out to defend. He had to cancel his CC as well. Isn't even able to rebuild that, whereas aLive is now finished, and aLive is already looking to escape with a 2-0 advantage in this series after 2 games. I mean, what a hugely devastating lead it is. I mean, 16 to 10 workers, plus the fact we're going to be on double mule here very shortly for aLive. The advantage is undeniable, and again, it just all went wrong for uThermal because he just didn't keep making units. As soon as aLive recognized, hey, you're coming across the map with 2 Cyclones, he started another Cyclone. uThermal never started another Cyclone. He went into a Viking, he went into, the Viking just doesn't cut it. Viking alone is just not going to do enough. The Cyclone is just so powerful in this early game TvT that to fight your opponent's Cyclones, you really just need Cyclones of your own when it's low numbers of units. uThermal just took a while to get his own Cyclones into position. And from there, again, he found good damage. It's just aLive found amazing damage. And as aLive pushes forwards now, an auto turret coming down too to help pick away at units and bits and pieces. A Cyclone drops already now. Cyclone's locking onto the Viking. And aLive takes the 2-0 lead in this best. As we go into this, the bottom right hand side it is from Team Liquid. uThermal, our teal Terran player. And he's going up against the blue Terran to the 9 o'clock position on Catalina. It is aLive. Representing my insanity. A 2-0 lead for him. As we get set up and ready to go. Seeing whether uThermal can again start a comeback or whether aLive will move on through to the semi-finals where he'll play either Nib or Cham tomorrow. Guys, we are live. Live. Right now, we are not casting from replays. That was just one series earlier, where we had a little bit of a mess up at the start, and so we had a little while to... we just did some from replays instead to fix it up, etc. Factory on the way from both, but it is a bit of a different play from aLive. A single gas will allow him to expand here early. I don't like going Catalina. I feel as though there's so many different maps where the CC early can work, such as Abyssal Reef, even such as Odyssey as we saw in Game 1, but on Catalina there's so much space to abuse over here. It's a short, small map as well. It's just such a good map for early aggression, and so I'd be very, very surprised if uThermal wasn't able to get something done with his early aggression this time around. He is going to go for the same build again. Tech Lab on the racks into... I wonder if he goes for the Cyclone drop again. I guess we'll see here in the next few moments. We do set up into this. Couple of Reapers hopping up to the high ground. A couple more hopping up there as well. And not just early going to throw down a grenade. Actually going to get a Marine kill for free right away. And now he's going to be able to get a second Marine kill too. Wants to save that Reaper. Does just about save the Reaper. Doesn't get the Marine kill, but not really anything the Marine can do to heal right now. There's not a medevac out, etc. So not the end of the world. Just would have been nice to get rid of it already. Cyclone will join up and go towards the front then, and actually the Cyclone of aLive moving towards the front too. Obviously the Reaper's here designed to try and tank a little bit of the damage, allowing the Cyclone of his own to start doing some better damage. Doesn't quite find it though. Still is keeping his Reapers alive as, again, going into that medevac. Doesn't want to lose the fight and doesn't want to lose health from the Cyclone either as he goes into the Cyclone drop, it seems. Remember, uThermal no expansion here, so eventually has to find himself some good damage as the starport will go to the Tech Lab. And what will it be as a follow-up here? Doesn't go Viking straight away this time, we'll go Banshee. I like it. I think it's a good way to set up into this. Alright, well, second medevac comes up to the top side. Double Cyclone here now with the 2 Reapers in front does just sway this fight a little bit. As you see already, first Cyclone taking quite a few hits. Reapers will pull back behind, and now he's just going to work his way through the CC, force SCVs off the line, looking to try and force damage. Medevac here to try and micro as well. And they'll come in and fight this once more. The Reaper does go down, saves his own Cyclone, gets a Cyclone kill. That's huge right now. because the Cyclones really are one of the bigger parts of this overall setup at the moment. Viking on the way out though from aLive, and that Viking will push away the medevac quite nicely. And CC will take some hits, as we're going to see another Cyclone about to join up here. And the Cyclone damage output is huge, and he just saved that Cyclone as well. uThermal with some great micro, and now picking away at SCVs, and now Marines are starting to drop as well. One Cyclone low on HP, but does not go down just yet. The Viking coming into play will force the medevac back and will minimize the kind of micro ability here. The Viking lands, but it gets killed before it can do anything. Lock onto the medevac. uThermal scans up above, so he will kill this medevac too. And uThermal is just in complete control here. Insane micro to keep every single Cyclone alive. And it really is what makes the difference here towards the end. Has to back away now. At the same time though, uThermal, did uThermal take damage too? He lost a few workers. He's got that Banshee coming over. And he's got a Banshee and a Cyclone now. Medevac going into the main with more Cyclones. This is the thing, the damage output is still there. There's nothing to really deal with this Banshee at all. There is a, well, there was a Viking, it got killed. You're going to see this Cyclone running away again. It's going to back off, and it is now going to be able to help out against the SCVs, and aLive continue to take damage here. Now Cyclone's dropping in the main. aLive just can't keep up with it. I mean, eventually these Cyclones die to the SCVs. No, not even, and aLive will tap out to give uThermal game 3 finally today. TvT's like that, but I was surprised on Catalonia, because again, it is just such a small map, and you kind of saw how uThermal was able to take advantage of all those different things to really make that turn his way from being the later player to expand. We're yet to see an early expansion from this guy in the bottom right hand side. The red Terran player from Team Liquid is uThermal. He's going up against the blue Terran from My Insanity in the upper left. It's aLive. So aLive against uThermal here. Intrigued to see what exactly is going to be going down in the next few moments. Interested to see what the plan's gonna be. Are we gonna see those double gases? Or are we gonna see expansions? We've seen aLive not afraid to expand. uThermal, we've seen no expand from him. 17 supply and no gas though, and that does begin to suggest that we're gonna be seeing the expansion rather than the double gas play. If you want to play double gas in TvT, you generally take it on the 17 marker, because you want the gas ASAP to start building into factory, starport, etc. Whereas a lot of other builds, even if you're going to go double gas, well, it just revolves around expansion if you stay on one gas otherwise, right? So moving into this, we're going to see SCV coming in towards the center of the map. Both players just scouting their opponents out here early. Just wanted to figure out what is going on, and both will see the low ground expansion in just a few moments. They will see exactly what's happening. They'll get some info as to just how this is going. CV just hiding away in the low ground a moment or two before he builds the CC, just trying to sneak it down past his opponent, but both players see what's up, and both players going to open in the same way. Reaper's on the way from both. CC's down, factories start building. Game 4 is off to a mirrored build order. So CV just pulling all the way back as the Reaper was starting to push forwards. uThermal's Reaper will continue to push forwards. We'll move through the center of the map here and may even be able to get on over to the other side. So Reaper going to be able to get on over to the other side now, and we'll be able to poke on forward, see what he can maybe do. Let's see, actually grabbed a little bit of damage on that Reaper already, and the fact he only built one Reaper here means he might be able to get an SCV killed on the CC. Alright, uThermal delaying the CC. Will chase that Reaper. Oh, he's going to get the Reaper kill, which now means he's got a few little while where he can continue to delay this CC. SCVs will continue to take damage, and uThermal will be pretty content with this, right? I mean, getting a whole bunch of damage done here early, denying mining on gas for a little bit. He's not actually killing any more workers, but just delaying the CC alone is enough to just take small advantage in the early stages here. I'll say uThermal's been looking pretty good in a lot of these games. Even the ones he lost, he's had moments where he just looks so brilliant. Just then somehow manages to fall apart at points. It's been an interesting set of TvTs in all honesty. It really has been kind of intriguing. As you see the Hellion Reaper fight here, it is going to go the way of. Wow, the grenade was so well placed. No way does this Reaper survive. It doesn't. But man, he really kept it alive for a lot longer than he ever should have done there. That was already kind of crazy. It's already kind of crazy. Suddenly going to pull back down. Raven on the way up now for aLive. And what next, I guess? uThermal a few workers ahead because of how just a couple things went his way early. He killed an SCV. He delayed that orbital on the natural. And now we're in this position where we see the medevac about to pop up. uThermal will get across the map to be aggressive. aLive. Reactor and Cyclone sending Hellions across the map. A Raven on the way up. It's an interesting setup here, as you can see a single Hellion of uThermal into the back of the mineral line. Don't think he's seen these Hellions. It would be a horrible time for him to load up right now, as the first Hellions will run forwards, and it will be one insta-kill there. And now uThermal with his spread out Marines will actually be able to rather easily deflect the rest of these, I feel. One Hellion killed, the bunker will finish up, and uThermal not going to end up being aggressive, just going to sit back for now. Marines load up into the medevac, and we'll be moving on towards the top side of the map. A couple of Hellions here, going to take the watchtowers at the same time. aLive is going to assert some map control of his own. uThermal will see this. Obviously, aLive now sees the medevac coming his way as well, so he can begin to position. aLive already going into Stimpack and extra barracks. uThermal going to go forwards in towards a third CC and double engineering base. So very different ways of approaching the mid game now from both players. aLive really looking to be pressuring, really looking to build up his army, build into numbers of units and upgrades, which will immediately help them fight. uThermal invests for the long game, the third CC, the double upgrades. If he survives the initial waves of aggression from his opponent, it will generally become uThermal's advantage into the mid game. But obviously surviving that aggression can be the difficult part of this. We see Marines, a few of them going down and then backing away in that medevac, but nice little trade-off here. uThermal will definitely find the better end of that. Find himself a few Marines to pick away at, a couple of SCVs too. Another scan up into the main base. aLive gets kind of spotted out right there. Is going to be seeing +1/+1 still on the way up from uThermal. And this medevac going to come over here and is just going to be healing up these Marines once again. .48 SCVs to the 46 as uThermal tries to catch another Hellion. And yeah, it's just slight leads for our Dutch Terran player here. Game of this quarter-final matchup. Remember, you win this, you go through the semis to play the winner of Neeb versus Cham, which is our next series of the day, coming up straight after this. If you want some more Protoss action, if you want to see some PvZ, then don't go anywhere, because we are heading towards that best of 5 PvZ between Neeb and Cham, so it should be pretty great. Looking forward to it. Let's see this medevac boosting up the right-hand side. Hellions still moving around, a couple of Cyclones and the Raven to the far left. Armory now on the way down from uThermal as well. Starport lifts off that reactor. Barracks will move on to the tech lab, and the extra racks will start to build. Obviously, uThermal will go up to all 4 of his extra racks at the same time here, because he never got his initial second and third racks based on the way he played this opening. But he was able to float his third into a location, whereas aLive is still just going to be playing that aggressive game. 2 more reactors built, and he's about to be on so much Marine production with Stimpack, with combat shields on the way as well. Again, he will be down a +1 armor upgrade. In general, his upgrades will be trailing, but, well, he's definitely got the army to fight with. Question is, can he break the siege tank lines of uThermal? Because if he doesn't, well, uThermal's got that third base. He's already 13 workers ahead, and his economy is only going to bring him an army supply lead in the future, just not right away now. 1-1 finishes up for uThermal, +1 attack finishes up from aLive. A couple of SCVs going down as uThermal counter-attacking with Marines and a medevac. Loving it, because he should not be the aggressor now, you know, with the way that this game is going. He's not the player who's meant to be finding damage. He's not the player. He's meant to be delaying his opponent's attacks. Well, he's the player, I mean, yeah, okay. You know what I mean, though, like, delaying his opponent's attacks is perfect. It's exactly what he wants to do. But aLive with this army should not be taking damage. Missile turrets protect over here. The siege tank comes in, and he will be able to, for the most part, just shut down those Marines. So, uThermal just on top of this. Ravens throwing down auto turrets to deflect other Ravens. I mean, he's just really playing the defensive game where he's just going to sit with his tanks at the front. He's going to make sure he can't be broken, and to secure that, he makes sure drops can't get in his main to start pulling him apart in different directions. And it's very well set up here from uThermal so far, as we're going to be seeing these armies getting ready to push forwards again. Tanks still sieged up. Raven going to lead the charge with a lot of auto turrets. SCVs will pull in immediately here for uThermal. He knows the situation where he just has to survive to make this work out for him, but he isn't surviving. Wow. His auto turrets were late to come down. He didn't get enough of them down either. They were so late to drop. And with those auto turrets coming down late, aLive was able to break on through. And now he pushes up this ramp, gets rid of another tank. He just doesn't care. The upgrade disadvantage doesn't matter when there's so few Marines of uThermal. aLive will take this series 3 games to 1 and advance through to the